everyone, welcome to my channel, Themissingpiece. Today I have a little bit more of a lesson kind of thing planned, or that I'm doing. I guess it's not really planned if I'm already doing it. I don't know. So I want to talk about dependency, or being dependent on someone or something to meet a need. There are things that we really actually depend on, like food, water, shelter, clothing, things that we actually need in our lives. Those are kind of things that are okay to be dependent on because you need them and they're a legitimate thing to depend on. So I'm not really wanting to talk about those so much as I want to talk about the other kind of dependency. So to kind of explain that, we all kind of have things in our lives that we depend on that aren't necessary. Some people, it's coffee. They have to have caffeine in the morning to feel alive and get through the day. Important to them, but not a necessary thing that they have to have or they're gonna die. You know what I mean? Like food or water. Another example would be like cell phones or video game devices. Some people really depend on them and, they are important to have, but we can survive without them. I mean, they're not exactly necessary. I guess now in our society they're more necessary, but at the core of what it is, it's not something it's not something you need to survive. And I'm not saying that any of those are bad. They're fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being dependent on those things because they're not really harming you necessarily. So let's say that person who needs coffee every morning, and that's totally a normal thing. But when you get to know them better, you find out they have 3 pots of coffee every day. It's a little more worrisome. Or the person who really depends on their cell phone. It might just be they need it to get around and, call people with work and things like that. But if they're constantly on it, they're just ignoring everyone around them, they're only on their phone all the time, it's a little bit more of a problem. And I know that, people understand that, and there are limits to things, and too much of anything is generally bad. If you take it too far, it just is not what it's necessary for, or not what it's intended for. You know what I mean? So those are just some examples so that you guys kind of understand what it is I'm getting at, and what it is, like the difference between things that you depend on that are necessary and ones that are kind of unnecessary. So you probably all know someone who has dependency on things like that. And again, they're not the worst. There are worse things, people that depend on, alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, and really just things that you wouldn't want anyone else to know about in your life. That's something that you depend on, and it's probably not something you would be comfortable talking about with your grandma or, anything like that. And really, when it becomes a problem that you depend on that thing so much, it really shifts the way that you view everything. I mean, you're just consumed with that thing, and it's constantly, you're thinking about it, you see it everywhere, and it's always on your mind. And it's just bad, And you probably have someone or something in your life that you can immediately be like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I had this in my life, or I have this in my life, or I know my friend has this in their life, or, a parent, someone you know. So I kind of just want to get into that so that you can see what it is exactly that's happening, or what needs to happen, I guess. Sometimes I ramble and I don't always know what I'm talking about. I have it all written down, but I kind of get off topic and wander, I guess. I don't know. So I can't speak for everyone's experiences. Everyone has things differently going on in their lives. But for me, the only way to get away from these dependencies, these really bad habits, is to be in constant communication with God. I have to do my devotional every day. Otherwise, it becomes 2 days, and then it's 3 days, and then I'm getting into bad habits again, and it's just not where I want to be in my life. And Jesus, he wants us to be completely dependent on him. Not like some people take that as, they can just sit around the house and do whatever they want and not work and not talk to people and not do anything, and God is just going to take care of them. That's not how it works. You can't just do nothing, because he has things planned for you and he wants you to be doing things. He can't use you to build his kingdom or grow your life if you're just sitting at home, not doing anything, not talking to anyone. So don't get the wrong idea on that. Some people tend to, and it's just not where dependency is a little different. It's not, I don't know. That's just kind of the wrong way to take it. If that makes sense. It is a little confusing to explain. I'm struggling. Like, I wrote this down and I couldn't explain it very well. It's one of those things where you're like, it's not okay. I mean, if you think about like a parent, you depend on your parents, for most of your childhood, and that's okay. When you get older, you kind of depend on them less. You can, get a part-time job when you're in high school. You start driving so they don't need to drive you everywhere. And you kind of, break away from that codependency. And, you get to be your own person. But imagine if you just didn't get a job, you didn't get your license, and you sat around in your parents' basement for your entire life. I don't think they're going to be happy about that. Good parents should not be happy about that. I'm just saying that now. Because they should be pushing you to be the best person that you can be and to go out there and have life experiences. And I know that some people struggle with that, like anxiety and stuff like that, but I think it is really good to, push yourself in small ways. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Go out with one friend to a coffee shop or a walk around your neighborhood, small things at a time, but still getting out there and doing things. And that's, what God more is towards. He's the good parent who isn't just going to let you waste your life away in your parents' basement. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. I got to switch my paper. My method of holding my thing is not the best. But it works better than having my phone on the table and constantly not knowing what to do with that. I might have moved the camera too. I really apologize. I understand that it is kind of hard to be totally dependent on God, because you can't, it's not like with your parents where you can just talk to them and say, like, these are the things that I want to be able to do, and, this is how you're taking care of me, and da-da-da. You know what I mean? But it's more like we have to trust that he will take care of us. And really, to do that, we have to be in contact with him all the time. I mean, every day, throughout the day, and, listen to what he wants us to do. I mean, if you're outside and you see someone walking on the street and you just hear God and he's like, go talk to that person. Very difficult, and I can't say that I've ever necessarily done it, or at least not yet. It is something that he can be like, hey, go do that. And you have to be in contact with him and listening to him to know that that's what he wants you to do. So again, kind of just to give you a better picture of comparing, God is kind of like the adults in our lives. He takes care of us and he really meets your basic needs and teaches us important lessons about life and how we should go through with things and be decent human beings, because honestly. So I want to kind of bring in this Bible verse. So Deuteronomy, I'm just going to read it. So I'm looking down. It's going to look really awkward. So Deuteronomy 33:27, it says, he will drive out your enemy before you, saying, destroy him. So this is kind of what this lesson is based off of, this verse. How this all came about, I'm not positive because I wrote this down a long time ago. But it just seemed like the thing to talk about today. So really, to simplify everything, Jesus is weaning us away from other dependencies. He's breaking those bad habits, those things, that we are ashamed of, that we don't want to tell anyone about, all those dependencies that we have on things of the world and things that just are bad. He's breaking them. He's getting us away from them by being in contact with him and slowly distancing ourselves from those things. And we really need to trust him that he's going to do it. I mean, I struggle. Again, I have things that I struggle with. And it's really hard to feel like he's with you if you're not talking with him. Does that make sense? Like, if I haven't done my devotional and I've been lazy and I won't pray every night or every morning, I definitely feel the distance, or imagine the distance, I should say. That like it seems like he's not there with me. And then I fall into traps and I get, back into bad habits. And you just feel very alone. But he is there. You just have to talk to him. And he's always giving you outs. I mean, it's just, yeah. That's kind of, I hope that makes sense. Again, sometimes I ramble and I don't know. Anyway. So really, to kind of end this off and stop my rambling, Jesus really takes us as we are, with all the bad things, with all the, dependencies that we have, and he heals us. He takes these away and he brings us back to the person that we want to be and that he knows that we are. And I mean, honestly, he loves us more than anything else in this whole world. I mean, he loves us more than anyone else ever will. And it's so important that we know that, and that we, remember it all the time, even in the bad times. But he will do anything to get us back. I mean, like it says in that one thing, he left all those other sheep to chase after one. And you know what? My kids, I have a group of 20-some kids. If one ran off, yeah, I'm going to go get that other kid. I'm not just going to leave him. It's a little different. It's not because of a legal reason. I just don't want to leave them alone. I'd feel bad, And I don't want those kids to feel alone either. So to stop my rambling, because I think this is okay, I'm just going to end everything here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Or thumbs down if you were like, Summer, you rambled way too much. I am so confused. You can comment down below if you have anything that you're like confused about, or you want to know more about, or you just, want to say something about the video. I don't know, whatever your little heart's desire. Go for it. I'll answer you or respond the best that I can. If you want to see more of my videos, subscribe to my channel, ring the little notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload videos. I am back on a more regular schedule, so hopefully I'll get videos going and out more regularly. That's always the promise I have. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Bye.